Hello everyone. In this video I will introduce you with our new system for communication about classes, about students. It's called Slack. And also I will introduce you for our new workflow, which will make everything much more organized. You will know what you need to do in every step of a new trial student or a regular student, or if some changes come for students. So this is the Slack system. I will sign in now as you should do. So for the sign in, you need to enter here Angalit La'am, and then each teacher will get his own login. So I will now log in with a Tintin account. Each of one of you will have his own login, of course. And here in this system, each of you will have two channels. So I will explain what do you see here. You can see here all the channels. So you have two channels. You have the general, which you don't need, and then you have two channels that you need, which is the students and the trials. So for Tintin, we have Tintin students and Tintin trials. And then you have also your communication. You can communicate with other teachers. You can communicate with Chrysler here or with the Israeli customer support of the client managers, Ronen, which is me, and Yuval. And when we have more, you can communicate with them also. So this is only direct communication. You don't really need to communicate here, only if you do some long-term discussion, okay? But everything will be here in the thread, in the channels. So for example, in the students channel, you will have all your regular students, okay? So this is all the regular students of Teacher Tintin right now. And you also have a thread of Teacher Tintin itself, okay? In the trials, you will have all your upcoming trials, which is now empty. And then all the communication about a specific student will be from this system and will be also documented properly. Okay, so for example, if we want to speak about Roni Meshulam, so you can click on create a thread, and then you can see here all the communication about Roni Meshulam. So we can see the time and the date of the class. And then, for example, if there is some problem in the class, so you can write problem can't hear student. Okay, and then we know there is a problem with the class of Roni, for example. And then you can also see there is a thread that's created for Roni. Then the client manager of Roni will respond for you on the same thread that he is checking the problem or what do we need to do. Okay, so for example, now I can just reply. Okay, so I reply checking. Okay, and then all the communication and everything that happened about this student will be here. Okay, so you will have a thread for each student, the same as you have about Ronnie here. And you have also your own thread, which is Tintin. And here you will write your all personal issues. For example, if you will be missing on January 1st because in holiday, or if you are sick, or if you have any problem related to you, the teacher. The same will be in the trials. So to make everything much more clear about the flow that will be, so we created the flow, okay, and then you can see everything that will happen. So for example, and we will do this now also live, so you will understand. Let's talk about the new trial, which means new student that wants to do a trial class. So what will happen is that you will see a new student message created on your trial channel. Okay, so for example, the channel of the trials of Tintin is empty right now, but when a client manager will get a new student for a trial, so you will see, for example, okay, here you see that I created for my account, for Len Eisenberg, a trial for Yossi. So now you know there is a trial for Yossi on the 24th of December, 10 p.m. Philippines time, of course. And then you know what's the next step. So the next step is that you need to approve the student in the thread. Okay, you need to start a thread and comment approve. So after I check that everything is okay, because of course it was green on the schedule, so this is the reason that Ronen created this thread, this trial. So you will go to the start a thread and you click approve. Okay, then everybody knows that this trial is approved by the teacher. Okay, you can write here for on the reply, and then you will see all the communication. Then, one day before the trial, then add the new student trial to your Google Sheet, the same as you did all the time. Okay, so just add it to your Google Sheet as trial name date. After you added it to the Google Sheet, one day before the trial, you need to check if the student added you. Okay, if there is less than 1 day before the trial, because it's from now to now class, so then check 4 hours before the trial if the student added you or not. So for example, if that the student didn't add you, so you write on your thread, student didn't added. Okay, and then the client manager will know to get in touch with the student and to check why he didn't add you and to ask him to add you again. If 1 hour before the class the student didn't make a contact, so the trial is cancelled. If the trial started, so you should write trial on. So you go to the to the thread and you write trial on. Then we know the trial started, the communication with the student happened, and everything is okay. If for example there was no answer from the student, so you should write student missing. Okay, so instead of this one, maybe this one didn't happen, you just write student missing. Okay, then all the communication about this student will be here. Okay, and then the client manager will be aware and everything will be also documented and much more easier for the teachers, for the Israeli customer support, and for Chrysler, the manager. And after the class ended, you should comment class that the trial ended and a short summary of the trial, so we can speak with the student here in Israel and tell him what happened in the class, what his level, and to recommend him to do more classes. The same we do with new students. If you have new students, so it will happen here in the students, not in the trials. And then you need to expect for the same, just in the regular students. So you will receive the new student and then you should write approved, add to the Google Sheet, and then on the class time, if the student doesn't answer after 3 minutes, write on the thread that the student didn't answer you, and then keep calling every 3 minutes until minutes 15. If he didn't answer after 15 minutes, so the class is cancelled. If he answered, so just continue the class until the original time. But when the class is on, write on the thread of the regular student class on, and when it's off, write class off. Okay, so for example, if there is a class for Uriel, so you go and you do class on. and then when it's end, it will be class off. And of course, in the end, if the class was successful, so you should add the students in the date of this class to your students info as you do today. So we'll know that this class really happened and that you need to get paid for. And if there was some technical problem in the class, maybe Skype problem, maybe you cannot hear the student, or maybe the student cannot hear you, so you comment on the thread, can't hear the student, for example, okay? And you also call Chrysler because it is a live problem. And if for some reason the class didn't go through because this technical problem or any reason, so you just tell the student to contact the customer support in Israel, and then we will decide if we give him another class or maybe don't give him another class. Okay, it depends on the situation. Another event that can happen is if a student asks you for a change. Maybe it can be a permanent change or just one-time change, but for every change the student asks you, you tell him to contact the Israeli customer support, which means you never make a change by yourself. You always do this from the Israeli customer support. And then maybe the Israeli customer support enter the change. So you will see, for example, maybe there is some change for Bertie. Okay, this is Bertie Moshe. So you will see a change, maybe one-time change. So it will be one-time change. Okay, I entered now the change. Okay, so you can see in Bertie Moshe, the change, it will notify you by notification, of course, in your phone and also in your application. And then you can see one-time change, Sunday to Monday, 4 p.m. So instead of Sunday, the next Sunday, it will be Monday, okay? And then what you need to do, you need to approve the change, okay? So you write here, approve, and then we know it's approved, you are well for this change, and then you also need to change this on your Google Sheet. And if it's one-time change, so add also the date, so you will be aware for the date of this one-time change. If it's permanent, so you change it permanently. And this is it. The last thing that you need to know, that you need to do on the Slack, is to write your own on your own thread every day your schedule for the coming day until 12 p.m. every day, which means, for example, for Tintin, so every day until 12 p.m. this day, you should enter and write your schedule for this day. So it will be daily schedule, and then you write, for example, Uriel 22, and then maybe you have Bertie 23. Okay, and maybe you have also someone else in 2 a.m. Okay, and this should be sent every day before 12 p.m. So we here in Israel and also Chrysler will be aware that you know the classes that you have today, that you are prepared for them, and that you didn't forget or make confused about those classes. We also check them and see that everything is on the place. So to summarize, you will have on your channel all your students basically with a mini chat which called thread for every student. So this is the thread of Uriel, and we can see the thread of Bertie, and then we can see the thread of Roni, and so on and so on. If there is no thread, so you can create. For example, now I will create thread for Larissa. Okay, start a thread here, and then you can write everything because it's a new one. Okay, and here everything should be updated. If there is some change, if there is some problem, if the class on, if the class off, And the same we do about the trials. If the trial on, off, student missing, everything that happened about this student we should know. Also, you have your own thread, which called teacher X. It can be teacher Tintin, it can be teacher someone else, which here you will write your daily schedule every day in this configuration until 12 p.m. and also your own problems or issues. For example, if you need a day off, if you are sick, if you need a vacation in January, for example, all of your issues about you, the teacher, should be written here so everybody will be aware and it will be documented properly. Of course, if you have some problems and you cannot write until 12 p.m. but you need 1 p.m., so of course just tell us and it's really flexible. Maybe you need to write this before you go to sleep because you are wake up late, so it's also okay, but it should be written. So if you need some adjustments because your own issues, so just tell us, okay? And here on the direct message, you can just chat the same as you do on WhatsApp or on Skype. If you just need to chat something offline, you can write this here. If this is some long communication, it will be on the direct messages, but the conclusion will be written here on the threads to be documented properly and everybody will be aware for it. So you will all have the flow, okay, and you will also have your own username and password to log into the system. Also, you can see next to the flow, you can see all the rules. We also added the rules of the students, so you will be aware when you get paid and when you don't get paid. So for example, if the problem is from the student, which means the student is absent and he notified less than 1 hour before, so the class gets paid. Also, if the student had some technical problem and it's not your problem, so you also will get paid. And you also have your mistakes here. So for example, if you are absent without letting us know, so it's $3.5, which is basically a class. If you get late up to 10 minutes, you just need to extend the class by those minutes that you get late. And so on and so on. You can see the issue that happened and the penalty or the situation if you get paid or if you don't get paid. Also, which days you should be expected to get paid, which is the same, nothing changed. Okay, we just added this so you will know in which cases you get paid if there was a problem in the class. So it's good for the teacher basically. And this is it. Thank you. And if you have more questions, we are available all the time.